Okay, so today in Sprague River Homestead, we're going to put together a Suncast plastic compost tumbler. Get your tools ready. Here's what you need. All right, so the things I have used to put this together, I've got a Phillips screwdriver, pair of channel locks, an adjustable wrench, a socket and ratchet, which is a 9/16, a 9/16 wrench with an open end, an open box end, and then I've got a 3-inch extension with a 7/16 socket itself. Now this is going to be all the tools you need from yourself, and it does come with a small wrench piece that is also helpful if you want to, but these are what I suggest to be able to put this together quickly and efficiently. Okay, so when you first initially get your compost tumbler, you're going to get it obviously in the box, which is going to come delivered via your favorite delivery point. Now, of course, the first question always is, what's in the box? So as soon as you open your box, what you'll find is you're going to have the buckets here, which is the two halves, and then you'll have your legs, which are going to come in a separate box here. So once everything's taken out of the main shipping box, you've got your legs pieces, you've got your hardware in a bag, you've got your latch in a bag, and then of course you have your instructions. So you can turn into your instructions, you can look to make sure you have all your pieces based on the diagram before you start assembling. Okay, so to start, all you're going to do is you're going to start building your frame that the composter sits in. So you're going to get your main piece here according to the diagram. And then at the back of here, you're going to find your angled legs. Now notice on these, one of these is going to be longer, so the longer piece here is actually what goes on the ground. So it's the base, and that's what's going to fit inside your curved tube like this. Now once you have the piece assembled here, you'll notice that there is a hole here for a fastener. So you're going to take and put one fastener up through, and that's just to keep the pieces together loosely for now, and don't tighten anything until the very end. So the fastener you're going to use to start with is going to be one of your carriage bolts. Now it's going to have a curved top. It'll also have a square section here on the piece, and then it's roughly about 1 inch long. And that's just going to slip up through there. You can also put a nut on the back of it, which keeps it together. And then you can start building it, the stand, piece by piece, putting the pieces together, putting a bolt through it, and then just put a nut on top just to make sure that it stays together until the end before you tighten everything. So one thing to notice before your base piece, on this back piece that is straight, there is going to be a stamp here that says up. I'll show you. See how it says up? So make sure that is facing up before you assemble this, because these holes on the end are actually angled. So you want to make sure they're in the right orientation before you assemble it. So up goes up. Now also as you're assembling this, make sure that your bolts are actually going from the bottom up and the nut is going to go on top. That's because it's going to sit flat on the ground and you don't want the nuts down, causing it to sit kind of on the nuts themselves. You want it to sit flat. Your base assembled with both pieces. You're now going to get the next pieces, which are curved. They're kind of like a handlebar, like you're driving. And you also notice that it's got a small piece welded on, and this is a piece where it sits. This is where it turns at. So you're going to take these. Now these are universal, I guess. There's no left or right or up or down. You're just going to take these and put these on your piece there. And then you're going to use the same bolt, and you're going to go from the outside in. So the bolt goes from the outside in. You're then going to use one of your nuts. And that's there. Okay, so your other handlebar piece goes on. Bolt from the outside goes in. And then I hand start a nut, holding it on while I finish the rest of the assembly. Now the last pieces of your frame are going to go from kind of your handlebars down in. So you've got a long piece, take it out of the bag. You notice you've got a long piece with a curve. The long piece is going to go onto your handlebar. The curved piece is going to go down into the opposite side of your base. So long piece into the base. There. And again, bolt outside and then a nut on the inside. And now on your bottom piece where your two curves come into the base, these also get nuts. Now these are going to go also from the bottom out. Okay, now once your pieces are all assembled with hand tightened fasteners, it does come with a cool little wrench, just like that. Now you can just take this, tighten everything down tight now that everything is together, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the next pieces to go together, you're going to find kind of a stick shaped that's got a piece coming off at an angle, and then you're going to find another angled piece. You're going to slide these off, and you want these angles to be pointed in different directions. So if I show you this way, you can see that it kind of makes like a V, and they're pointed in opposite directions. They're going to be 90 degrees different. So where this one is kind of like on a horizontal plane, this one now goes kind of an angle on a vertical plane. And then you're going to find your small little piece here and set that over the top. And then the fastener for this is going to be in one of your bags. So you'll get one of these out. Now it's going to be the carriage bolt top, and it's also going to be a little longer at about 1.5 inches. So once you have them all assembled, what you'll see is a piece like this, where it's got an angle on the back, and there's a small cover, and then the bolt. Now you're going to do the other side just like it. So the piece here, make it go opposite. Cover. And then the bolt itself. Okay, so once you have your two pieces lightly assembled, what you're going to do is you're going to put the ends in together. So where the brackets are in the ends, you're going to basically turn them around and put them in together. So this is the two halves that go together. You can see the brackets kind of make a sandwich, and then the bolts go through with the nuts. Now this is what's going to be your tumbler and your turner, so when you flip your barrel over, what this does is it twists and turns and makes everything kind of tumble and churn. So what you want to do is when you look down through it, you want to make sure that you've got something in all four directions. So if you can see, it kind of makes like a plus sign. That's the way you want it. So you want to make it sure that when it tumbles, it's basically making everything kind of flip up and down. So double check that and make sure everything's good, and then you can move on to the next step. So once you've got your axle all assembled, you're going to next get your next piece. It's a plastic piece. It's got lock side listed on it, and it's got kind of a bulb side. So you're going to take the thinner side, and it's going to slide over this down to where the two bolts line up, and you're going to have kind of the bulb facing out and away. Now it's going to be kind of a snug fit, but once you have it slid down in place, grab two more of your long bolts. You'll put those in, and the lock side piece should be up, and you're going to put your bolts down into it. Once you have both of those in, put nuts on the bottom and then tighten up. Okay, so once you have your tumbler piece assembled with the lock on the side, you're now going to find two of your bushings, and you're going to slide these over the shaft. Now these have a lip on them that needs to go to the outside. So once you have them there, now these bushings are what goes on top of your piece. So you can slide that in there, slide your other one on, and these rest between the two halves, so when you clamp those together, these can now spin inside and tumble your compost. So once that's all in, you can then orient your other half over top, just like this, to form your barrel. And now your piece is trapped inside your tumbler. And what you'll notice is that half of your barrel is going to line up, and then down to the edge you're going to have holes that you're now going to go get the screws and the nuts to go with. Put those in, hand tighten them, and secure it all the way around. Put your two halves of your barrel together.
I just remember this being the miserable part of the whole process. Oh, it doesn't line up very well, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah, it's plastic.
Yep. Okay, so now in order to put these things together, the best thing to do is to get one of the screws, put it in from the top, hold the nut on the bottom, and hand tighten everything all the way around. Now your barrels are probably going to be a little bit warped from shipping. These were a little bit, but since it's plastic, just go each bolt by each bolt all the way around, and what you'll get it to do is it'll conform as you go around. Hand tighten everything, and then go back in with a Phillips screwdriver from the top holding the screw, and use a ratchet. So a screwdriver, and then a ratchet and a 7/16 socket with an extension on it. And then you can kind of go from the top and ratchet from the bottom, and that will tighten them all the way around 100%, and then you can move on to the next piece. Okay, so one thing to note is when you put your bushing on your lock piece, remember the old piece that said lock side, you connect it up? That's going to be on the far side from you, and you're going to put your bushing on the opposite side over here. And then these pieces, based on the directions, this is going to go opposite of the lock, this will go on the lock side, because this is the lock itself. Okay, in order to put your barrel onto your frame, you've got the two long bolts that are going to go down through the pieces, and just make sure to line them up before you smash them down in there. Put the nuts on the bottom, tighten it up, and now your barrel is mounted to your frame. So the last piece is going to be your lock itself, so you can take this, put the lock in first here. This just goes on. It's going to twist lock, and then you can close it and open it just by this. And then it's locked. And that's it. Okay, so now the barrel does come with these stakes that you can use to stake down the frame itself if you want to. Otherwise, if you're not going to use them, you might keep them for something else. They could be candy canes, some tinsel candy canes if you want them. So the assembly itself, not too hard, using basic hand tools. It takes a lot of patience and about an hour of your time to be able to put this thing together. So if you can use it for compost, you can use it as a mixer or anything else you want to do, but not too bad of a job. So if you have any questions on anything I didn't cover, it should come with instructions. Hopefully this is a little helpful to actually see it go together versus trying to read some instructions. That's it for this time on Sprague River Homestead. We'll see you next time.